hopefully our our special guest will get here soon. Surprise, surprise. But we thought that we would start off today by just doing a really brief recap is too strong of a word, but a little bit of a reminder and what have we learned already kind of over the past 3 weeks. So is anyone willing to think about a tip for having a nice Zoom background that they can remember?
Background, like having like a nice lit, like bright place.
Yep.
With the least amount of distraction.
Yep. Anybody else remember anything?
It can even be something that you all are clicking on during Zoom.
The number one thing that stood out to me was to have the camera set up so your head doesn't look smaller than your body and straightforward.
Yep.
You can also adjust the lighting.
Remember anything?
Yeah, I remember many things about the eyelash, about to change background, everything.
Yeah.
And about the light, even on the face to be brighter and
yeah. Exactly.
Also remember, when you're on a computer, you can mute and unmute with the space bar.
Yep. Awesome. You guys have said everything that we kind of thought about as reminders, that you can blur your background, you can make your face look nice, you can put a picture up that's virtual like Jamie and Edgar have behind them. You can sit in front of a blank wall, mute yourself, make sure that your lighting's good, that your angle. Great job, guys. Good memories. Does anybody remember, or can anybody think of one of the things that we talked about as like sneaky ways to increase your savings? There were a lot of ideas 2 weeks ago that we kind of threw out there and talked about.
Yolanda, you're on mute.
You can like save, like this one lady, she was saying that you can save like in a jar, like save your money every, change and things like that.
Yep.
You also talked about like IRAs and like 401ks or 403bs through your work.
We did.
Putting money aside that way.
Yeah, or even just putting a set amount, a small set amount, a couple of dollars every paycheck into a savings account that then you don't scat or check, and you do your best to forget about it so that it's there when you need it for an emergency. Yep.
And we learned about how we save our money and how many are going out and how many are saving, to know our budgets, how many we are spending and how many. Yeah, and we have to have a plan.
Yeah, just knowing how much money you are bringing in and how much money you have to spend just to survive.
Yes.
Helps you figure out how much you can save
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then last week we talked about interviewing. Does anybody remember any of the tips or things that you should practice ahead of getting on an interview, especially in this virtual, right? We did preface a lot of the conversation was about kind of Zoom interviews.
Yes.
Practice like what I, oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, practicing in advance.
Mhm.
Yeah, or like our weaknesses and our strengths.
Yep.
That's a hard one.
I liked that that the interviewer wants you to succeed. Like, don't feel like the interviewer is going to give you trick questions, because they want you to be really good so they can hire you. So I liked hearing
Yep.
that. I thought that was cool.
Or
I also,
Sorry.
Me too. I was
go
inspired by
ahead,
that.
Okay, we have to practice alone all our what we are going to discuss, and we have to talk. We have to record it and train ourselves alone first before we go to the interview.
yes.
And we have to tell we have to make ourselves for selling. Like, we have to be careful what we are talking, and we don't have to talk much. We have
Right. And
many
it's okay.
things.
Exactly.
I really gain many things.
Right. Exactly. There's also, you can practice, make sure that if it's not on Zoom, since you all have done a lot of getting onto Zoom, but if it's on a different platform, trying to find a way to practice signing into that ahead of time. Or even remembering that you can allow yourself, you don't have to start speaking as soon as the question is finished being asked. You can take a moment, collect your thoughts.
having questions for the interviewer at the end, not only okay to take notes. I think Jamie said that it's okay to have something, take notes and have questions, and do your research on the company, know what they are about before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And writing thank you notes also.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes.
They can be written or email.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. In virtual also, we have to dress very nice on the top, and very light, and our picture you have to see, as they have to see full picture. And nobody have to disturb, and the connection have to be very good
Yes.
on the virtual.
Yes. As good as possible.
I remember Richard mentioning how standing up makes such a difference, and I would have never known that.
Yeah.
Good point.
Someone also mentioned jewelry. I think that could be distracting in virtual. So I don't know if they said to wear something modest or nothing distracting as far as jewelry. And I know in-person ones too, sometimes we didn't mention this, but like perfume and things like that, to you it might smell good, but it could throw someone off. So just to be mindful of like heavy perfume.
True. We did not talk about that, but that's a good tip as well. So I think Yolanda was the one that just mentioned that you've been looking forward to having these weekly little meetings. And I know this is our last one, but I do know that there's already another series is happening, and I don't remember who it's being done by, but there's 3 sessions left, I think. I think they started last week. And it's on similar topics, some financial and career building workshops. So if you want to, and it might even be on Tuesdays. So if you want to keep doing that, you can talk to Edgar about dropping in and joining that workshop.
Provide information for that. I'll drop it off to the unit sometime this week.
Great.
So that's a good point.
Thank you.
So there was supposed to be a guest speaker today from Bridges. He goes by Lee Morris III. He's the Employment Services Manager. He accepted, so I don't know what the holdup is. I have emailed him, but I was hoping that he'll speak more about Bridges since it's within the community. I'm sure you all know Bridges. They recently merged with Bonda and Amanda. Lee Morris's office is out of the Bridges office, or BHA in the Macedonian. He is very flexible. I have his virtual calendar, which I will be sharing with everyone. He also has an open door policy on Wednesdays. He has a vast knowledge on he actually just emailed back he's going to join. So instead of telling you all about what he does, I'm just wait for him. Maybe he'll be on in the next 2 minutes, but he can tell you a bit more about his role in the community. His goal is to bring employment services, trainings, certifications, what have you. He knows money that is available through the county, through the state. I've had the pleasure of meeting with him one-on-one, and he has so much knowledge of just employment. And I know that some of you already gave us an insight into what your interest field. Both Hallelujah and Yolanda, in the last session you mentioned home healthcare, IT, and computers. So I urge you all that after he presents today, to find a time to either schedule a one-on-one with him in person or virtually, and see how he can customize or he can meet your needs wherever you are, as far as how serious you are going back into the workforce. If you need more training, just he's a very approachable person. So I'm hoping that you all take that initiative after we leave here to meet with him. So I'm hoping he'll join in the next few. So we'll do that. He'll introduce himself, go over things, and then we'll turn it over to Jamie and Lindsay again, and they have other resources to share with us. So again, thank you so much. You guys made this. We couldn't have done this just with leadership and AHC residents. You actually made this. And so yeah, let's give him like 2 minutes more to see if he joins. Thank you.
Or do we want to, while we're waiting for him, do we want to, Jamie, maybe just start?
Based on the resource.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jamie and I have done a lot of thinking about what we've already talked about and some additional resources that you can, on your own time, look up, read some videos that are pretty short. And so what we're going to do over the course of the evening is just, we're going to throw a lot of things out at you, kind of talking at you, but Edgar has a document that has all of these links. So whatever sounds interesting to you, I think Edgar's going to send it out to everybody. And so you'll have all of these resources, but we didn't want to bore you with a PowerPoint that is just links to other resources.
And it's broken up into just different tabs. It's not going to be too overwhelming. So you can easily click on whatever it is that you need or like more information on.
Oh, there's Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect timing.
Do after Lee is done talking, we'll let him come on and tell you a little bit more about the Bridges and AHC partnership first.
Hello.
Haley,
Can everybody
thanks
hear
for,
me?
yes, thanks for joining us.
I apologize about that.
We hope you aren't driving.
Oh, no. I'm standing still. So I'm Lee Morris. I'm the Employment Services Manager at Bridges, which is a housing and community-based organization. So we are located in the Macedonia building on Shirlington at the Service Center, formerly the Badge, the Bond and Amanda Johnson Community Development Corporation. They merged with Bridges, and now we're just one big organization. So I work out of there every Wednesday from 10 to 4. You can come in and I can assist you with whatever your employment needs are: cover letter, resume, LinkedIn account, Indeed, job search. If I know what you're looking for, we can research that. And if I know of some places you can submit your resume to, I can do that. I'll also reach out to my colleagues at work to say, hey, do you have a contact here at this company, to see if we can move your application along. And I actually just assisted a Green Valley resident about 2 weeks ago to obtain a job in his field. He's at the end part of his background check, and we'll be starting his orientation next week. So that's a great thing. Any training programs, I send that information out. So whatever your need is, we're there in the community. I'm there on Wednesdays, but if I need to be there another day, I don't have an issue with doing that. You can make an appointment, or you can just walk in. Trying to make it as easy as possible. And I think
Is it free?
Yes, the services at the service center is free.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So we're there in the community to help the community either obtain work, do training, or obtain a job that is at a higher salary.
Lee, could you tell us a bit more of some of the training opportunities that are available in the county or the state that either is funded 100%, or I know that in our conversation, we talked about GEDs for any resident looking to go back, that Bridges actually has a program where they can pay for the prep of the GED. If you could elaborate a bit more on the GED resource that Bridges, out of Bridges.
I sure can. So we have a GED program. So you can go to the service center and meet with Miss Yvonne, and she'll do an assessment for you. And so for now, if you feel like you're ready to take the GED, then we can pay for what's called the GED Ready, which is the pre-test that'll score you and let you know that you're ready for the actual GED. And then when you're ready to sit for that, we can assist with the payment with that. It's just some things that have to be worked out. You got to tell us the dates and all that you want to take the test, because you got to pay for it. That's how it's set up. But hopefully, starting in August or September, we'll partner with Arlington Public Schools to offer GED classes at Drew Community Center. This is all preliminary now. It's not in the works yet, but that's the goal, to actually have those classes morning and evening. We're just trying to figure out the space and how that's going to work right there. And we'll even pay for it. So if you go the classes through APS, you have to do what's called a pre-test, and we can pay for that as well. The pre-test, that'll just score you to let you know where you are on the GED and how they'll place you within the classes to learn to be able to sit for the GED. So we do have that. Some of the programs in the county is about every 90 days or so, the Department of DHS, along with Arlington Employment Center, offer online virtual computer training, which is free. You just have to show that you are a resident of Arlington, and you have to show your proof of residency, your proof of income. Most people qualify. I know for a single is your pay can't be above 70, and then it's higher as the household number goes up. And that's a Zoom class that's done usually 2 evenings a week. So they just started a cohort in April, so I'm assuming the next one will probably be like July, August, or he may just wait till September. But I'll send Edgar the information when I get it, and he can just send that out. Also, through the state of Virginia, there's a program with NOVA called the Fast Forward program. That's a program, a workforce development program that will assist, I believe it's up to like 90% of the tuition and books based on what program you go to. So for now, they have IT classes and medical classes, medical billing, medical assistant, some IT classes, and it's a third one. I'm sorry, I can't remember what it is right now. That's called the Fast Forward program. The cohorts for that usually start in August. You can go to NOVA's website and go into their workforce development program. I can assist you walking through that process because it can be very tedious, and it seems like NOVA changes the requirements every month. So yeah, so we have that. Goodwill is starting an energy and construction program in July. That one will pay a stipend. I can't remember how long the program is. They have Monday. They have a virtual information session. You can go on the website. Edgar, it's the same site as I put all that stuff on the client website that I sent the link out to. It's another program that they're having an information session on Friday. It's for women who are interested in culinary. It's called Together We Bake. That's free because of funding, and they do offer a transportation stipend. It meets 3 days a week. The next classes are going to start in June. You finish by August, and when you finish the class, you'll have a certification in restaurant, a safe certification in restaurant management, which is great if you're going to go into that field, because that basically means you can work without the chef. You can be able to work without the chef. So that's another training program. The Goodwill is probably going to have a medical assistance one coming up probably sometime towards the end of the summer. And those are all the ones I know about now. One more. If you're interested in starting a small business and you're interested in you're a cook or you're interested in the culinary field, La Cocina has a program called a Small Business Incubation. It's a 9-week program where they basically walk you through how to start a small business. They teach you the laws. They teach you about business license. You have to do a business plan before you finish. When you finish that class, you also for the Safe Serve food managers certification, and that program now for the 9 weeks is $300. And I want to say $125 for the Safe Serve class, which is 2 Saturdays after the 9-week ends. The instructor walks you through it, and then the second Saturday you take the test.
Thank you so much, Lee. That's a lot of information. Please do send me. I know that you're always sharing those opportunities with me, the employment opportunities especially, but all the programs you touch base on, if you could send something to me in email form, and I'll forward it to residents. I saw residents' eyes light up as you were mentioning some of them. The Fast Forward program, I know that one of our residents mentioned IT, another one mentioned personal care assistance training. So as you send those to me, I'll forward it to participants and residents.
And it's a new one, Edgar. It's on that link. I think you was included in the email I sent out this afternoon. But it's another one on there. Arlington Employment Center has some type of grant program to help Arlington residents gain more skills. And I know that they will help with IT. Arlington Employment Center also has a program called a child development associate. It's a year, it's 12 months. When you finish this program, you'll be able to work as a head teacher in early childhood development. You'll be able to work as a head teacher. And as long as you're Arlington resident and you fit the income requirements, there's no cost. And that one is a year, and it goes in a cohort. So they just started one in April. So I can look on the website to see, or I'll contact the lady who manages that program to see when the next one starts. So we just had a Bridges client enter into that program. So they'll be done by next April. So they work with a whole portfolio for you, for the client. So when they're ready to go out and look for jobs, they have all this information ready and with them. So if that's something that clients are interested in, child development associate, that'll be a good program. Also with that program that the Arlington Employment Center does, the computer training, is Microsoft Word, it's Microsoft Excel, and it is a comp IT class, but I can't remember what it is. I think it's to be able to work on the hardware of a computer if it goes down, if I remember correctly. And that one is free. But when I get that information, I'll send it out. And he usually has like an information session before that you can log into, and he explains how the program goes. Yeah, so those are the free ones. But the Arlington Employment Center does have this grant program. And you can always go to them for additional training. You just have to go through 3 workshops. They're all virtual now. And then the counselor will work to find a school that they have certified to receive the funding.
Thank you so much, Lee, for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah.
But all that stuff I mentioned, you come to the service
Yes.
center, I can help you. We can help you. We can help you. The staff there, we can help you walk through it. So I won't just tell you that and we leave you high and dry. All of these things I said, we can help you walk through it. So yeah, especially with the Nova thing, because I've worked with 3 different clients and I've had 3 different experiences. So yeah, so I know that one can be a little. I have a just now what needs to be done. But yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. And
Yeah,
No problem.
We appreciate your time.
Yeah, and remember, all these things are, all our services are free of charge to the community.
Thank you. You're a wealth of knowledge.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Just come see me at the service center. If you need some assistance, even if it's just you want me to look at your resume, I have no problem doing it. All right, y'all have a good workshop.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank
Good evening.
Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you.
All right, y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Bye bye.
So hopefully you understand why we wanted to invite him into our session tonight, because he has a lot of resources and he's got like 6 hours. I don't remember exactly what his hours were, but something like 6 hours every Wednesday that he's available for one-on-one
Yes.
assistance. So don't miss that.
10 to 4 every Wednesday.
Wonderful.
Working.
I tried to add as he was talking, but I was like, oh my God, how do you remember all that? So I got some of them into our list that he can expand on, but I couldn't catch them all. But Edgar will be sending those out.
Yeah. So Jamie and I thought we'd kind of go back 2 weeks a little bit to some of the financial tips that we talked about, or rather not the tips that we talked about, but some additional resources and thoughts about how you can further your own knowledge of personal finance, or tricks kind of on your own time and your own schedule.
Mhm. Should we share our screen to explain
think you have-
that?
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
Good.
I have to,
You have capability?
I don't know. Hold on 1 second. I've got like 6 million tabs open, which is not what you're supposed to do. Where is it?
Excuse me, can I ask a question, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. About the guy, he was telling us a lot of information and it's hard to remember everything. And can you send me to the email, please?
Yes,
Following
Edgar.
up.
His website, everything, what he said.
Yeah,
I'll
Edgar
be following up.
links and information for all of the programs that he shared.
Yeah, and the last one also, what we learned, please.
Well,
Thank you.
Once we're done with the workshops, I'll send email out with the videos for the 4 workshops, all the resources we've talked about, and even as I meet you in person, I can explain a bit more. But I'll send out all those links and all those
Okay.
resources.
Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Can't seem to bring up that
Are you trying to share the
document.
the tab sheet?
Yep.
Let me see if I can get it to share.
Okay. Can everyone see that?
Great. And a reminder,
Yes.
Edgar
Yeah.
has this document too, so he will send this to you, so you don't need to write down all these links right now either.
Okay.
So it's broken down into 3 different tabs, as you can see at the bottom. So we're in the budgeting tab, and it's the name of the link on the left, and then a little bit of the background on each link. They're all hyperlinks, which means that you can click on the blue writing to get to the website. There's some helpful tips there. I don't remember what the tips were that we listed below. Everyone know about those points that you get at the grocery store? Sometimes we forget to look at our receipts and see how many points we've earned. And those can be really helpful towards deducting sorry, your points can be applied towards your grocery bill. You just have to go and log onto your profile if you have a Giant or Safeway or Harris Teeter account to make sure those points are applied correctly. And they're really good. It's amazing. Like you could save up to like I've seen $7 where you can take off on your grocery bill. Some free things you can do around town. There's a neat website I used to follow, Beltway Bargain Mom. Like they just explain all these different events that were going on and coupons and stuff for kids. And then if you have car insurance, or if you're part of any of the big stores, remember that you have they provide other services for free or other discounts at no cost. So for example, with Allstate, you can get free financial advice from a certified financial advisor. And
And Jamie, those are complimentary services, right?
yes, that's the perfect word, complimentary services.
Okay.
They come with your already the purchase that you made with them,
Mhm.
right? By buying your car insurance with them.
Yeah, and the same with banks. So like some credit unions, some commercial banks that you're a member of or a customer of, they also provide discounts at local businesses that you might not be aware of.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
Yeah. And even like if you're gonna buy a car or something. So for example, at a credit union, if you look for the car, they sometimes will provide a discount off at that dealership or whoever it is, like 100 to 500. It just all depends. There's lots of savings out there.
So I like the idea of making sure that you've meal planned so that you go to the grocery store and you're only buying everything that you need, because everybody knows how frustrating it is to be making dinner and realize you forgot an ingredient, but also to make sure that you are not buying other things that you don't need. So I'm gonna move this, which I think does not affect your seeing. Is that true? You can still see it now?
You'll see it.
Yep, okay, perfect. And again, you'll get all these links from Edgar.
Mhm.
Last week, we talked about interviews, but we didn't talk very much about getting to the interview and resumes. So we thought we'd just take a minute and provide, again, there are some links here. So there's places where you can get resume templates. And you know, a resume is really just a listing of your skills and experience. And if you're just entering the workforce, or you've been away from the workforce for a long time, you don't want to panic, right? Because everybody has started out at some point with a resume that at some point there was no experience, right? Everybody has to have their first job. And so you don't want to panic, but you can think about what kind of volunteer or life experiences do you have that provide some of those soft skills like relationship building, working as a team, a positive attitude, communication skills, things like, have you led or started a neighborhood or friend, Bible study or book group, book club or craft group? Or did you help coach your kids' sports team or volunteer with the PTA, right? There's ways to think about your abilities, your skills and abilities that aren't necessarily a job that you had in the past. And there are places that can help you think about that. Probably Lee can help you with that. And the Arlington Public Library also, which maybe we didn't get on here before we do, or before it gets sent out to you. The Arlington Library can do free 20 or 30-minute sessions to help you with your resume. So don't feel like you have to.
It should be under courses and training, but it should
Oh,
be
it
under
really-
probably resumes and interviews.
Yeah, let's move this. Oh, look, we'll do this live. Put it in the right place. There we go. So there's ways that you can be creative, and there are also lots of jobs for which you don't actually need a resume because they'll have an application that they just want you to fill out. So don't panic if you don't have a resume. We heard somebody filled out the survey from last week's class, and somebody asked the question, what should you wear for an interview? And we talked a little bit about that. Edgar kind of brought up some suggestions when we kind of started out the session. But we have some links that have advice for what should you wear to an interview. And last week, Tiffany and Richard did a great job with some practice questions and put you all on the spot, and you all did phenomenally. But we have some links here to videos. These types of interviews are, they're YouTube videos, and there are some suggestions as to how to frame your strengths and your weaknesses so that you have answers to those questions. There's, Jamie found this video and I watched it and I thought it was great. There's a guy who's actually has a video so that you can do a mock interview. And so he'll ask a question and then he will get quiet so that you can answer and practice your response in a way that you feel like you are in a professional interview. So it's almost like the next step after you've thought through some of your own and done your own practicing. What does that feel like to be in front of someone else? And you're still by yourself. It's still just a video. It's playing. He's not watching you, but it gives you a little bit of a sense of what it feels like to be in an interview.
And then there's also a clock that you can see ticking, so that you can see that time frame and that feel that stress that bulges up and you're like, I don't know how to answer. But it's good practice.
It is good practice. His I will say his time limit is only a minute though, and that's
So short.
rare that you're going to have an interviewer that actually is like, and your time is up. They're not going to be timing you, but so it's a little bit short and unrealistic from that sense, but it does give you some good practice. And then and you'll all get this, some reminders to do a thank you note, either written or email. And some of the tips. And again, Lee had a lot of great resources, right? He could help you with your resume. He had job searching skills, right? He could help you with create it or work on your LinkedIn profile if you have one, or if you don't and you want one. I'm sure he said a lot more things actually, because he had so many, but those are what I remember him saying. And then we thought, unless I missed anything, Jamie, here in our resume and interview, we have some courses and some additional training.
Right.
So I don't think we need to talk very much about the Arlington Employment Center, because Lee already kind of covered that, and he is going to know a heck of a lot more about it than Jamie or I anyway.
Yeah.
He really is a great go-to. Grow with Google. Yolanda, you were the one I think that said you wanted to do IT, if I remember correctly. These may or may not be the right classes or courses, but Google has free classes, and they're called classes, but I believe they might just be a series of videos that you can watch on your own schedule. If anything in that section or in their list of classes seems to strike your fancy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The Khan Academy is a really great website, and they have a whole career development section. They actually also have some personal finance courses if you're interested, but their career path has things like, so you want to start your own business, which somebody at some point mentioned maybe they wanted to start their own business. A couple of different sections, and again, these are Khan Academy, they're very short videos, they're 5-10 minutes usually, and there's a whole bunch of them, so you can watch them again as they fit into your schedule. And
Okay. Oh, I added the Nova Workforce Development link that he had referenced, so that you all can check that out. But as he said, it's a little bit of a complicated process, so definitely reach out to him. The Rev program, I believe Edgar had mentioned at some point as well, and it's held through Nova. If I'm not mistaken, it's for students switching careers or had been affected due to COVID. I'm not sure how far, or if that program's expanded.
Lee is very knowledgeable.
Okay.
He's very knowledgeable about this program as well. So
perfect.
And then I don't think anyone was interested in construction skills, but we listed the Shirlington Employment and Education Center. They might do other things. I'm not sure, but I'm sure Lee would know. Same with Skill Up, tons of free classes. What I do know about Skill Up is if you do sign up for a profile, be sure to use it within, I think, 2 to 3 weeks, or they'll close your account. Then someone had mentioned starting a business. I'm not sure if they're here tonight, so we added some links for that. And I also had the La Cocina link that Lee had referenced. And found an uplifting story, because sometimes as we get older and we're adults and we're trying to learn and manage life, it's discouraging at times, but you're never too old to learn. And I found a story about someone in their 90s who obtained their degree. So have their whole lives, and never stop learning.
So I know this is a lot of information today between Lee and kind of all of these links, but we wanted to kind of leave you with whatever the right path is for you. Hopefully there is one or two or more resources here that make sense for you. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And again, Edgar has this and we'll send you this document. And I think that concludes everything from Jamie and I, but does anybody have any burning questions that we can answer here since we're wrapping up this workshop series?
I did see on there that one of the suggestions was to apply to 1 to 5 jobs a day if you're actually looking for, is that
or set some type of goal for yourself
Right.
once you set up those profiles.
I think that's fair because I remember that at some point when I was looking for employment, that's about how many I'll do a day. And it really is one of those things, like anything, you have to put the work in, the consistency. Sometimes it's discouraging when you put information out there, applications, and companies might not get to you, but don't forget other people are applying. The job might be in Arlington, but the people are applying from North Dakota, you never know. It's just so many people are applying for the same position. So don't be discouraged. This was before I came to AHC. I remember that I was putting in a ton of applications. So it's always, the consistency will pay off. You just have to start somewhere. I feel like you just have to make that initial step and don't let it deflate you if you're putting out applications and you're not hearing back.
Yeah, looking for a job is hard. It's a job in and of itself.
Yes.
And it can take a very long time to find a job, which is necessarily the happiest of news, but it can, and it can be hard to not get discouraged. And so that's part of, I think, the reason why people have suggested to have a goal of your personal goal of 2, 3, 4 applications or resumes submitted kind of every day, because it helps you keep moving forward.
Yeah, and something I learned too was when putting out all those applications, sometimes you receive an automatic reply, but sometimes you receive an email from the employer itself. And I highly recommend to read those emails, because I did have an employer say, "Thank you for your application. Good luck with your studies." So they don't know, and I had graduated from the program they were mentioning. So it's good to advocate for yourself and to say, "Hey, thank you. However, I did complete that, or I do have those certifications," or whatever it is that, they say that's an error. I ended up getting hired.
One other thing for me, I think that also the positive about going to such workshops and trainings is just networking and meeting people that are in the same boat and having like that solidarity. We're all looking for employment, but in addition to that, it's also a way to get recommendations, right? And so like everyone that attended this 4-week workshop, I can't speak for everyone else on here, but if you came to me for recommendation, I would vouch for you because one, you've been consistent, you've been engaging, and so that's also another perk of going to the workshops. And I'll be sending the links to the ones that Jamie was talking about that is going on currently. It might be similar to what we're doing or what we've done with these workshops, but I highly encourage that if you do have the time on Tuesdays, I believe it is, to continue with that self-learning. It's like you're going on your own evolution, you're taking part in it, you're answering questions, you're making yourself known. It'll be easier to approach someone being in a workshop that you've participated in for a recommendation or say, can I, versus you went to the workshop and never said anything, never made yourself known. So I'm just putting it out there that if you need a recommendation for any of those applications, I am willing to do that. And as you connect with Lee, I'm sure Lee will be willing to do that as well. So yeah.
Yolanda, are you saying something?
Yeah, I was just saying that's good to know. If references are, kind of hard to, go off of. So that's good to know. Thank you.
That was the word I was looking for, references, not recommendations. Thank you. Any other questions? Right, it's 3 minutes to 8:40. I know we started around 7:40, so that's an hour. Again, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you all for your time, those who are presenting for being here, those who are not presenting, so adding to the class. A big thank you to residents, participants. Again, we did all this because of you, but you attending makes it worthwhile. And I'm just so proud of everyone's hard work. And when we started to where we are, I think we have something really solid that we can build on. The spreadsheet looks amazing. Thank you for the time put in it. It will be used in the future. I'll forward things to residents so it makes sense. It doesn't overwhelm. And if you have questions, please do reach out. You already know you can, but if you don't, reach out. I have my phone number. I'm sure all of you have it, but email works as well. So again, thank you all. And any last words before we?
Yeah, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for all your thoughts. I really learn a lot. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your good things. Thank you so much.
Good, thank you, hallelujah. I'm glad that it was helpful to learn things over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, and I can see Irene saying thanks to everybody in the chat. And thank you, everyone as well, the participants and the leaders. It was really great. So I enjoyed it and I learned a lot.
I did too. Thank you all so much. And just know this is the beginning of a relationship here. So we're always a resource for you. And we really appreciate you joining.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
everybody.
All right.
For all your
Bye.
knowledge.
Good experience.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye,
Best of
everyone.
luck.
Good. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Yep.
Bye.
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 Yeah, Jamie, it was awesome. Thank you.
Yes, it
Thanks,
was
thank
fun.
you. Yep.
Thank you.
All
We'll be
right.
in touch. Bye.
Good. Thank you.
Evening. Thanks, Laura.
Bye.